Starting off at number 10, we have Kylie Minogue. Kylie Minogue and Kylie Jenner got in a huge legal battle over their names a few years ago. Basically, Jenner was trying to trademark the name Kylie, but she's obviously not the only person in the world with that name. According to the US Patent and Trademark Office, in 2015, Jenner tried to register Kylie in the US for advertising services and endorsement services. Minogue then had her team file for the registration to not go ahead as it would damage her own reputation. And in the legal documents, Minogue did not hold back, describing Jenner as a quote, secondary reality television personality, known for her quote, photographic exhibitionism and controversial posts on social media. Minogue then tweeted out quote, "Hello, my name is Kylie, #lightyears," insinuating that she's light years ahead of the reality star. And even though at the time Jenner deserved to lose the trademark, I wonder what would happen today now that the name Kylie is affiliated with Kylie Jenner a vast majority of the time. Let me know below. In at number 9, Forbes. News outlet Forbes was a huge part in getting Kylie Jenner the respect that her and her family wanted so badly. When they announced that she was the world's youngest billionaire, people changed their minds about the business Kylie was doing. But Forbes later publicly retracted those statements, saying that they were caught up in Kylie's web of lies, and she actually wasn't a billionaire after all. The bombshell came from documents that were made public when Coty purchased 51% of Kylie Cosmetics. That deal valued Kylie Cosmetics at nearly $1.2 billion and backed up the billionaire claims. But later, those documents showed that the company generated $125 million in sales for 2018. For example, despite the Jenner family leading Forbes to believe that it had generated $360 million. As a response, Kylie tweeted, quote, "I've never asked for any title or tried to lie my way there ever, period." Kylie then tried to change the subject by tweeting that there's more important things to be worrying about, and even though that's true, it was crazy to learn that her billionaire status was a Kardashian PR statement. Although she's still worth about $900 million, so I mean, still worth quite a lot. In at number 8, Paris Jackson. Paris Jackson is of course the daughter of the late Michael Jackson, and because of this she has a deep love and respect for music. So when she saw that Kendall and Kylie Jenner were selling t-shirts with various musical icons on them, she wasn't happy. The shirts featured musical legends like Notorious B.I.G., Tupac Shakur, The Doors, and Ozzy Osbourne. When talking about the scandal, she said, quote, "As a huge fan of Zeppelin, The Doors, Floyd, I mean these bands literally helped shape who I am today. I can't condone this fashion." Going on to explain that these legends should be respected and honored. And this was just one case of the girls using things that aren't theirs to make some money. And at number 7, Amanda Steinberg. As we know, Kylie and her family are famous for cultural appropriation and stealing looks from Black culture, then getting praised for it. Actress Amanda Steinberg was a celebrity who decided to stand up to Kylie after Kylie posted a picture wearing cornrows. Steinberg commented on Kylie's photo, quote, "When you appropriate Black features and culture, but fail to use your position of power to help Black Americans by directing attention towards your wigs instead of police brutality or racism. #white girls do it better." Kylie clapped back saying, quote, "Mad if I don't, mad if I do, go hang with Jaden or something," referring to their mutual friend Jaden Smith. But honestly, that was the weakest comeback I've literally ever seen. And at number 6, Danielle Bregoli / Bad Baby. Danielle Bregoli is known for being shady and taking aim at celebrities, so it was no surprise when she shaded Kylie in one of her music videos. The song was called These Hoes, and in the video there was a part where a girl that looked eerily similar to Kylie was getting lip and butt injections. And the whole point of the song is that she isn't like other LA girls, insinuating that Bregoli is not fake like Kylie is. And a little fun fact, so many people thought that the Kylie impersonator in the video was Tana Mojo, that Tana literally had to come out saying that it wasn't her. I guess this video was both shady to Kylie and Tana then. Halfway number 5, Kendall and Kylie's t-shirts. One of the many business ventures the Kardashians developed was a clothing line for Kendall and Kylie, simply named after themselves. The clothing line was pretty successful until the girls released an incredibly insensitive t-shirt showcasing the faces of deceased artists like the Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur. After the release in 2017, Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, called the sisters out on Instagram, writing, quote, "The disrespect of these girls to not even reach out to me or anyone connected to the estates baffles me." Paris Jackson also commented on how tone-deaf the release was. Paris took to Twitter and wrote in part, quote, "As a huge fan of Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Floyd, I mean these bands literally helped shape who I am today. I can't condone this fashion. Legends like these who completely changed our world today, not just the music world, should be respected and honored." not turned into this. A photographer who shot one of the images also filed a lawsuit against the Jenners, but it was dropped in April of 2018, and the sisters pulled the shirts almost immediately. And at number 4, Kim's blackface scandal. Cultural appropriation and blackfishing are something the Kardashians are called out for pretty often. The worst backlash on this subject was when Kim released a campaign for KKW Beauty, and fans accused her of blackface. This is because in the photo, her skin color was significantly darker than what we usually see. Kim immediately took down the photos and apologized. She later told the New York Times, quote, "I would obviously never want to offend anyone. I used an amazing photographer and a team of people. I was really tan when we shot the images, and it might be that contrast was off." Kim then re-edited the photos to be more natural, and the launch went off without a hitch. And at number 3, Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe. Sadly, cheating is something that Khloe has had to deal with throughout her entire relationship with Tristan. At first, when they got together, everyone was thrilled and he seemed like a great guy. But then, right before Khloe was set to give birth in 2018, leaked video showed that Tristan was out cheating on Khloe at a club. At the time, she was 9 months pregnant, and sadly she learned that he was nothing but a cheater who was not ready for commitment. A source close to Thompson told us exclusively, quote, "None of his friends are surprised by this and they all know that he cheats." Then more photos came out showing him taking a girl into his hotel room late at night, meaning this was clearly a pattern and not the first time. Khloe decided to stay with Tristan for the sake of her family, but this would not be the last time that he publicly embarrassed her. And at number 2, Tristan cheats on Khloe again. The phrase "once a cheater, always a cheater" is most fitting here, because after getting back with Khloe, Tristan cheated once again. To make matters worse, he cheated with close family friend of the Kardashians, Jordyn Woods. After this, Khloe was quick to call it quits. A source said, quote, "This time it hurts even more because the person who it was with is someone who knows very much what Khloe has gone through in the past year." A second insider said that Thompson is, quote, "just a cheater and doesn't care about anyone besides himself, his wants and his needs in the moment." Jordyn went on Red Table Talk after the scandal and confessed that they did kiss, but nothing more. Then unfortunately, after some time apart, Tristan and Khloe got back together in August of 2020, but have split again since. And finally, at number 1, Kanye's presidential run. This scandal is unfortunate because at first it had nothing to do with the Kardashians, but during one of Kanye's campaign rallies, he spilled some major secrets about his relationship with Kim. The worst was when Kanye exposed that he and Kim almost terminated the pregnancy with their first child, North. A source told Us Weekly that the Skims founder was, quote, "deeply upset with Kanye for talking about their personal life and for making matters that are very personal to them and their family public." Then Kanye went off on Twitter, revealing even more secrets and even accusing Kim of cheating with rapper Meek Mill. 6 months later, Kim filed for divorce. Apparently, the pair had been living separate lives for many months, and Kim was just done dealing with Kanye's unpredictable behavior.
At number 10, we have Kris's known manipulation and exploitation tactics. Kris managed to land herself a talk show deal in 2013, but her show struggled with ratings, and Kris was soon pulling all types of wild stunts to rack up the viewer count and overall interest of the general public. One of these instances involved Kris making an announcement of, quote, "introducing someone very special to her audience." Of course, when she walked in with a baby, everyone had naturally assumed it would be Northwest, who had yet to be revealed to the world at that point. However, the baby ended up being her stylist's newborn. Luckily for her show's future, after that stunt, Kris managed to score the first exclusive picture of North, which was revealed on her show alongside guest Kanye West. At number 9, we have Kris's over-the-top behavior. For starters, she has the Keeping Up with the Kardashian theme as her doorbell tune. Not only this, but in 2016, Kris officially filed to trademark the term momager. She even apparently owns a personalized bathrobe with the same term across the back. I'd say it's low-key weird that she decided to trademark being a manager and a mom, since there are many who existed before her and continue to exist after her. Also, don't get me started on the artwork in the foyer of her home that shows her and her family covered by a painting of Snow White eating the poisoned apple. And while we're on the topic of her home, unsurprisingly enough, if you ever decide to pop a visit to Kardashian, you'll be super glad to know that there's a featured table with a pile of hundreds of non-disclosure agreement papers positioned for anyone who enters to sign before they're welcomed in. Nearby, there's a frame which quotes the old saying, "What we say here, we see here. Let it stay here when we leave here." At number 8, we have her obsession with appearances. Tying into the last part of the point before, Kris has done far more to keep up with her and her family's untouchable image. 6 weeks before Kim's wedding to Kris Humphries in 2012, Kris got her neck and face lifted to ensure she looked her best for their big day. Following this, she described the surgery as transcendental and a life-changing experience. At number 7, we have her children and how much distance they've put between them and their mother. Robert, for one, completely removed himself from his entire entire family, as Kris would make constant overbearing comments about his weight and personality. Whether or not she knew this was damaging to Rob over time, it was, so that should say a lot about Kris's parenting skills and family dynamics over the years. Even Kendall, who seems to be doing really well for herself and avoiding the reality portion of her Kardashian expectations, has banned Kris and the rest of her family from almost all of her shows. Kendall did this due to the paparazzi and fans creating buzz over her entire family instead of her at her own events. It's genuinely sad that her mom has spent so many years chasing fame and big bucks that Kendall can't even attend her own shows without the media going into a straight frenzy. Despite most children wanting their parents to be with them while they achieve success, Kendall would rather not, and really, I don't blame her. At number 6, we have probably the weirdest red flag on this list, and that's Kris copying Kim's style. Kim has openly complained non-stop on their show about how annoyed she is over her mom copying her sense of fashion and quote, stealing her spotlight. Of course, Kris seems to be a bit unreasonable in this sense, but hey, I'm not a parent, so what would I know? As a daughter myself though, if my mom ever started directly jacking my style, I'd like to think I'd make a big deal out of it too. It's quite tacky and really irritating for parents to try to be cool and act like more of a best friend rather than a parent to their kids, and that shows through the Kardashian children's upbringings. Of course, there's no problem in being a friend to your child, but there has to be boundaries to this and lines that are not crossed. Unfortunately, I don't think Kris understands this because she's constantly stepping into the friend zone, and in turn, her mothering pretty much goes out the window.
At number 5, who started the show? The family's reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, has been on air for so long that it almost feels like it has been on TV forever. Obviously, it wasn't actually on TV since like the beginning of time, but it was certainly a staple in a lot of people's homes. This show really boosted the careers of all of the Kardashians, but who had the original idea for the show? Well, that's up for debate. According to Caitlyn Jenner, she wrote in her book that she was the one who came up with the initial idea for the reality show, not Kris, as many were led to believe. In the memoir, Caitlyn wrote that she told Kris about her idea for the show, saying, quote, "The house is awash in puberty and adolescence and young adulthood, and two parents with very different styles. It seems to me something is there for television." End quote. She then goes on to say that Kris then claimed to have come up with the idea for the show and then took it upon herself to pitch the show to Ryan Seacrest, and the rest is history. Talk about starting things off on a sour note. At number 4, always perfect. Kylie and Kendall Jenner are the babies of the Kar Jenner clan, and they were pretty young when they started to rise to fame. Because the cameras were always on them, and because they were starting to gain notoriety on their own, their mom Kris decided that they needed to look perfect at all times to make themselves and the family look better in the eyes of the media. In an interview with Cosmopolitan in 2017, Kylie opened up about this dynamic in her young life and revealed that Kris Jenner had nail techs come to the house every week to do the girls' nails to make sure that they looked as perfect as possible. Kylie said that because this was ingrained in her from such a young age, that this just became a habit of hers even going into her adult life, which is why we see Kylie flexing her new nails on the gram. In the interview, she went into further detail about having to look put together all the time, where she said, quote, "My mom would make us do it. She would have a nail artist come to the house once a week. She would make us get our nails done. She was like, you are never going to look like you're not put together, so we're always getting them done." End quote. At number 3, fake homes. You know how on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, when they start a new scene in a new place, they show the front of the person's house? Well, it turns out that's kind of a lie. The houses that they show in the reality show aren't actually the Kardashians' real houses. In the beginning, they used to show the front of the Kardashians' houses, but soon it became a safety issue as it made it easy for people to find them. Kim opened up about why they decided to use fake houses instead of their real exteriors, saying, quote, "My old home in Beverly Hills was really my home, and I would get people showing up at all hours ringing my gate, and I had to call the police on several occasions. People hopping the gate and scaring me. It was so unsafe. The Hollywood Star Tours would stop by too because they recognized my home from our show. After that, we realized how unsafe it was to show the exterior of our homes, so now we use different homes for the outside for security purposes." Though they do use different homes as the exterior shots, Kim did confirm that they do actually film inside of their real houses. At number 2, original goal. Keeping Up with the Kardashians became a mega hit where people just tuned in to watch the drama unfold with the Kar Jenners. I would be lying if I said that this show wasn't secretly my guilty pleasure. It's just so chaotic and I love it. But it turns out that the original purpose for the show wasn't just to simply keep up with the Kardashians. They had ulterior motives. According to Mama Kris Jenner, the original purpose for the show was to bring attention to the Kardashians' clothing stores Dash and Smoosh. Their store Dash became the focal point for their reality show spin-offs like Kourtney and Khloe Take Miami and Dash Dolls. During an interview with Variety in 2015, Kim shared how they wanted to use the show to grow their business, saying, quote, "When the opportunity for our TV show came about, I wanted to do it to bring attention to our stores. I was thinking this might not last very long, but will grow a great business and expand online. I thought it would be great press. I didn't think it would turn into what it turned into." End quote. Their stores ended up closing in 2018, but at that point they had so many other things going on and the show wasn't even boosting their business anymore, so really, who cares? And finally, at number 1, new phones. Even a pandemic can't stop the Kardashians from creating content. The 19th season of the reality show was filmed over the course of the lockdown, and it was all done from the inside of the Kardashians' mansions. How they managed to pull all of this off is a little crazy though. Because camera crews weren't considered to be essential workers during California's stay-at-home orders, the Kardashians had to get creative, and so they created a system where every week someone would bring them a new iPhone to film on. They had proper sets built in Kim and Khloe's homes with lighting and the whole 9 yards for their confessionals, but yeah, I still can't get past the iPhone thing. Apparently, a showrunner wearing head-to-toe protective gear would come to the Kardashians' home on Monday morning to bring them a brand new iPhone to start the next cycle of filming. These Kardashians are so crazy. At number 10, Keke Palmer. So many people have opinions on the Kar Jenners. The way they look, the way they act, their business, everything. A lot of people don't like them for a number of reasons, but actress Keke Palmer has blatantly come out and talked about why she dislikes the Kar Jenners, specifically Kylie. Keke has shown sympathy in the past for Kylie because of the insecurities that Kylie has professed, but Keke isn't too fond of how Kylie went about dealing with those insecurities. A lot of the Kar Jenners show off their appearances all the time, and many of them have had plastic surgery, but Keke doesn't seem to like that Kylie flaunted how she changed her appearance like her sisters. The actress believes that Kylie went about dealing with her insecurities in the wrong way, and she hates the fact that she's been praised for this paid glow up. In an interview, Keke spoke out about all of this where she said, quote, "In the sense of the Kardashians, it's like, I'm going to show you so much perfect and be everything a woman should be or everything a man would like or love. Specifically in the situation of Kylie, where you've had a young girl people have seen on television since she was a kid, and they literally told her she was so ugly, the ugly person in the family. She went and did apparently everything the world deemed as beautiful. The even crazier part is that everybody loves her for it." End quote. Keke has deemed Kylie inauthentic, and that's why she dislikes her so much.
And at number 9, Kylie Minogue. Before there was Kylie Jenner, Kylie Minogue was the most famous Kylie. But in 2015, Jenner tried to trademark the name Kylie, and Minogue fought back. The Australian pop star shaded Jenner when she tried to trademark their first name. According to the US Patent and Trademark Office, in 2015 Jenner tried to register Kylie in the US for advertising services and endorsement services. But Kylie Minogue's team filed their own charges to ensure the trademark did not go through. Minogue claimed it would, quote, "damage her own reputation." In the legal documents, Minogue's team classified Jenner as a, quote, "secondary reality television personality known for her, quote, photographic exhibitionism and controversial posts on social media." Very savage. Then Minogue tweeted, quote, "Hello, my name is Kylie, #lightyears," insinuating that she was here way before Jenner. After this whole debacle, it's clear the two do not like each other.
At number 8, Madison Beer. There are a handful of people in Hollywood who have their grievances with Kylie's beauty brand. In the past, she's been accused of copying the same packaging as Jeffree Star's makeup brand, but she's also had some beef with Madison Beer because the singer accused Kylie of stealing Madison's purple palette idea from back in 2017. In October of 2017, Kylie released her purple palette from her Kylie Cosmetics brand, and soon after the collection was made public, Madison shaded Kylie on Instagram, alleging that Kylie betrayed her. Madison posted on Instagram saying, quote, "When people fully steal your idea and they come out with what was supposed to be a collab, whack," end quote. Though the collab between Madison and Kylie was never confirmed, Madison appeared to have hinted at it back in March of 2017 when talking to paparazzi. I could imagine how hurt you would feel if you worked on something just for it all to fall through with you but still be sold. That would be a serious punch to the gut. When a follower called Madison out on being salty about the whole ordeal, and that she didn't invent purple eyeshadow, the singer clapped back saying, quote, "You sound very unintelligent. Who in their right mind would think they invented an eyeshadow color or shade? That is not at all in any way what I said or even slightly implied," end quote. Apparently, Kylie and Madison were friends before all of this happened, so I wonder if they're over it now or if that ruined their friendship.
In at number 7, Paris Jackson. Kendall and Kylie got tons of backlash when they released a series of vintage t-shirts for their clothing line, and photos of legends like Notorious B.I.G., Tupac Shakur, and the Doors and Ozzy Osbourne were beside their own on the shirts. Tons of celebrities called out the sisters for their tone-deaf decision, including Paris Jackson, the daughter of the late Michael Jackson. Paris took to Twitter and wrote, quote, "As a huge fan of Zeppelin, The Doors, Floyd, I mean these bands literally helped shape who I am today. I can't condone this fashion. Legends like these who completely changed our world today, not just the music world, should be respected and honored, not turned into this. Pink Floyd is not Chanel, Led Zeppelin is not Michael Kors, Metallica is not Givenchy, don't get it twisted. Hashtag bands not brands and hashtag respect music." Along with getting tons of heat, the sisters were also slapped with multiple lawsuits, so they decided to stop selling the shirts shortly after their release.
At number 6, Selena Gomez. Another celebrity who seems to have had beef with Kylie is former Disney star Selena Gomez. Turns out that Selena had an on and off again friendship with the Jenner sisters, and it all stemmed from Justin Bieber. During the time that Selena and Justin were a thing, Selena started feeling a little iffy about Kylie specifically because she thought that Kylie was flirting with Justin. Selena and Kylie apparently got into a confrontation in 2014 because of it, and it all went down at Justin's house. According to sources, what happened that evening was that Kylie allegedly, quote, "sent sexy pics of herself to Justin, and that's what started the fight. Selena saw the pictures on Justin's phone and she freaked out and immediately left," end quote. The source also commented on the Jenner sisters saying, quote, "Kylie and Kendall live in such a fantasy world with what the show has turned their family into. At the end of the day, Selena was just there to be a part of the show and enhance their brand rather than being legit friends. Thankfully, Selena realized that she was being used and got out," end quote. Some sources also claim that Selena stopped being friends with the Jenners because of their use of substances, drinking, and partying, but the Jenners have denied those claims.
Halfway number 5, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson revealed on a radio show that she was presented an opportunity to present an award with Kendall and Kylie Jenner, but Wilson ended up turning it down, with her saying in the interview, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the recent VMAs and said no. It's not that you hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I've worked really hard to get where I've gotten to." And even though a lot of people who dislike the Kardashians share the same sentiments, Oprah Winfrey actually came to their defense against Wilson, if you can believe it, with Oprah saying that she couldn't believe how hard the family works, referencing when she filmed the family for Oprah's show, with crews taping the family for 7 hours straight, and then they filmed more of their reality show after. So, as we all know, the Kardashian family really works very hard, even though it doesn't seem like they do too much. And at number 4, Bette Midler. After Kim uploaded her incredibly famous nude selfie where she covered her, nether regions with just like black bars, the internet went ablaze talking about it. One of the people that didn't hold their tongue was Bette Midler, who tweeted out, "Kim Kardashian tweeted a nude selfie today. If Kim wants us to see a part of her we've never seen, she's gonna have to swallow the camera." Which, come on, you have to admit, it's pretty hilarious. Like, even if you like the Kardashians, it's a good tweet. As a clapback, Kim tweeted out that it was past Bette's bedtime and that she was a fake friend. And Bette responded back, "Looks like anyone can take a selfie, but not everyone can take a joke." And then she lightened the tension by posting her own nude. When talking about the feud later, Bette had no hard feelings and said she takes Twitter pretty lightly and hoping that Kim did the same. Hopefully Kim wasn't actually too peeved about that. I mean, come on, it was clearly a joke. I don't know. And at number 3, Wendy Williams. If you watch Wendy's show, which I definitely do on occasion, she spills the tea like nobody else, then you know she does not like the Kardashians and is always very blunt when talking about them. But Wendy got the spot of a Kardashian hater when she made some shady comments about Kim after her robbery incident. And when talking about the incident in Paris, Wendy said, "I would hope that she's not making any part of this up for dramatic effect. Because this family, they're kind of soulless. You can't believe everything that you hear. But this was very, very upsetting." And although I do not agree with Wendy at all that the Paris incident was a publicity stunt, a lot of people did feel that the incident could have been exaggerated by the family for views, with people citing numerous times in the past that this has happened with the family. And again, I do not agree, but I mean, she just brought it up as kind of a possibility, and obviously, she loves to shade them whenever she can. And at number 2, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is another Kardashian ex who was ousted from the family after her and Rob's relationship ended. And you know that whatever went down was bad, because the family is still nice to Tristan and not Chyna, even though Tristan is arguably way worse and embarrassed them so much more. The first of the feud was surrounding the fact that Kylie started dating Tyga, who was Chyna's ex. Then Chyna started dating Rob, and then the two got engaged and then pregnant very quickly. But after they had Dream, the whole thing fell apart and Chyna and the Kardashians were facing off on social media. Chyna even filed a lawsuit against the family, claiming that they stopped her show Rob and Chyna from getting a second season. A judge dismissed that case, but Chyna still shades the Kardashians whenever she can. And at number 1, Anna Wintour. This last one is something that I had no idea existed, but it's probably the shadiest one of all. So Vogue is one of the most prestigious magazines to be on the cover of, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were put on the cover in a very controversial move by the magazine's editor, Anna Wintour. When talking about the criticism, she noted that it would be a misstep to ignore the couple's influence, and she made the choice to lead and deal with the backlash rather than follow. And all of that praise to the couple is, all well and good, until she gives them quite a backhanded compliment, saying, "I think if we just remain deeply tasteful and just put deeply tasteful people on the cover, it would be a rather boring magazine. Nobody would talk about us." And although I totally get what she's trying to say, calling the couple, deeply untasteful is definitely more than a little shady. But I mean, if anyone can shade anyone, it's Anna Wintour. She can shade whoever she wants. And at number 10, Kim Kardashian's tape. This is truly the scandal that started it all, and the Kardashians arguably would not be where they are today without the release of this tape. Right before Keeping Up with the Kardashians was set to air on E!, the intimate tape of Kim and her then boyfriend Ray J was leaked to the public and went insanely viral. The Kardashians got in a legal battle to try and get it under control, but it didn't work, and the tape was eventually sold to a media company and released. Kim said about the tape in a 2012 interview, quote, "I'm not naive to the fact that that's pretty much how I was introduced to the world. It was a negative way, so I felt like I really had to work 10 times harder to get people to see the real me. I felt humiliated." In the years since its release, it's been long rumored that the Kardashian family leaked the tape themselves to drum up publicity and a storyline for the show. And if that's the case, it totally worked. And at number 9, Kylie Jenner's lips. Kylie Jenner was once considered the ugly duckling of the Jenner sisters, and she was not treated the same way as the rest of her family. Because of her insecurities, she's gotten a lot of procedures and has become unrecognizable from her former self. However, following all these procedures, she is now considered one of the most beautiful women in the world. Kylie's first procedure was lip injections, and it was hard to deny that there was a huge difference in the size of her lips basically overnight. At first, she denied it and claimed it was all lip liner, but the public isn't stupid, and we all knew it was a lie. Then later in 2017, she decided to fess up to the change and admitted she got lip filler because of an insecurity about the size of her lips. Later, she turned all the talk about her lips into $1 billion business, selling her Kylie lip kits, which was the first of its kind. And at number 8, Kim and Kris Humphrey's 72-day marriage. Kim's lavish wedding was considered the wedding of the century, and there was even a 2-part special created on E! To celebrate the big day. But since so much content was created out of the relationship, many questioned if the whole thing was just for show. Those accusations got even worse when it was revealed that Kim filed for divorce only 72 days after their lavish wedding. Kris even sued Kim at one point, claiming the relationship was fraudulent just for press. However, Kim clarified on a May 2017 appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen that she knew the marriage was doomed from the beginning. Quote, "I just thought, holy shit, I'm 30 years old, I better get this together, I better get married." And at number 7, Lamar Odom cheated on Khloe. This one truly breaks my heart because Khloe and Lamar were one of my favorite couples of all time. But sadly, this was when Khloe's bad luck with men would really start. It was revealed that during their marriage, Lamar cheated on Khloe countless times. They were married from 2009 to 2016, and in that time, Lamar claims he slept with hundreds of women. He claimed later that he had a sex addiction. Khloe shared her thoughts on the news in a 2016 interview with Howard Stern. Khloe said, quote, "I was genuinely blown away. Like, when did he fit that in? I don't know." Then in an interview Lamar did in 2017, he revealed that after he got married to Khloe, women came out of the woodwork to try and be with him. Lamar added, quote, "If there's one thing I regret when I was married, it was having multiple affairs with different women. That wasn't the stand-up thing to do. Lamar later said he would get back with Khloe in a heartbeat. And at number 6, Kendall Jenner's Pepsi ad. Being in a Pepsi ad is a really high honor, and tons of celebrities like Michael Jackson and Cindy Crawford had the honor to be a part of one. So when the opportunity was presented to Kendall Jenner, she jumped at the chance. But it ended up causing the biggest scandal of her entire career. She was a part of a protest-themed ad in 2017 because at that time the Black Lives Matter movement was being heavily discussed in the media, and there was a lot of tension between protesters and law enforcement. But of course, using an important social movement to sell a can of soda rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and Pepsi and Kendall got tons of backlash. Pepsi pulled the commercial and issued an apology, while Jenner told Vogue in March of 2018 that her quote intention was not to hurt anyone, but it's still a huge stain on her reputation.
Number 5. Jordyn Woods. When news broke about Tristan Thompson cheating on Khloe with her younger sister Kylie Jenner's best friend, the whole world came to a stop, and people were truly shocked. Thompson was spotted at a party, and witnesses at the party claimed the basketball player was making out with Woods. But the series of events followed proved the situation was more complicated than that. After news broke, all Kardashian family unfollowed Jordyn, and Kylie even asked her to move out of her guest house that Jordyn was living in at the time. The sisters all claimed they helped Jordyn to be successful on her own, and she would be nothing without them. And this scandal was an ultimate betrayal for them. Jordyn denied the allegations at first, and Khloe can be heard yelling "liar" on a snippet that showed on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Jordyn went on to Red Table Talk to clear up the rumors and said when she was leaving the party, Tristan kissed her and she left. Jordyn during this scandal was bullied by the Kardashian clan. On social media, they also got some of Jordyn's closest friends to chime in on the situation. While Khloe blaming the star for ruining her family and not sharing the blame with her baby daddy Tristan, Jordyn went on to be excommunicated by the Kardashian and Jenner family, and both have since moved on to bigger and better things. Number 4. Snooki. Snooki appeared on Cocktails with Khloe for an interview. Snooki had a lot to say about her appearance on the show and ultimately said Khloe was being downright mean when they were talking about how they first met. On the show, Snooki explained that Kim had asked her to come over to her house, and Snooki accepted because she was obsessed with Khloe Kardashian. Upon meeting the star looked her up and down and asked why she was there, and it made her feel out of place. When Nicole brought this up to the star on the show, Khloe acted like she had no idea what Snooki was talking about and tried to play it off. Snooki then went on to say she left the house and was really upset by the whole ordeal. While fans are quick to chime in saying Khloe doesn't look like a mean girl, many noted that Khloe didn't give us mean girl vibes, but Snooki proved us otherwise. The two have since cleared the air, and Khloe came out with an apology saying she was sorry for her behavior that night and said, "Maybe I was jealous you were getting more attention. I have no idea why I did what I did." Number 3. Scott Disick. Who could forget Scott and Khloe's bond? While many thought this bond would be never unbroken, that notion ultimately came to an end recently. Their friendship over the years has definitely had its fair shares of up and downs. With accusations and dramas, this friendship was fizzled out, and Scott had a lot to say about it. With Kourtney moving on with her new man Travis, Scott knew his ex was happy and that her love was a real thing. However, he didn't want her family to leave him out in the cold like they had been doing. Scott told Khloe that being left out was super hurtful, especially while he doesn't have any other family to go to. However, instead of Khloe being supportive, she was more worried about Scott seeing PDA exchange between Kourtney and Travis. Scott went on to say he would rather be around them than not around his family at all. Since Scott has been pushed out of the family, he has since been focusing on his kids, but spending as much time with them as possible. Hopefully Scott can repair his relationship with the stars and they can work out their differences, because seeing Scott struggle to be a part of the family is definitely heartbreaking and no one deserves to feel like that. Number 2. Amber Rose. In 2015, Amber Rose's feud with the Kardashian family hit its peak when Khloe Kardashian decided to defend her sisters and family. The star decided to give her input on the rapper Tyga's relationship with Khloe's younger sister Kylie Jenner. Rose went on to say Kylie is a baby and Tyga should be ashamed of himself. He had a beautiful woman and a baby, and he left them for a 16-year-old girl who just turned 17. Khloe decided to set the record straight and came to defend her sister by saying, "Don't worry about Kylie or her career, she is 17 and has it together." The star went on to say, "Please stop talking about my family in interviews, the 9 of us don't talk about you. Simply not letting Khloe get the best of her, Rose decided to respond with lengthy tweets, Khloe with the hashtag Don't Panic, which is a song French Montana wrote. The feud between Rose and the Kardashians stems from her former relationship with Kanye West, and since Rose has never been scared to hit back at the stars with her own input of her own opinions. Number 1. Kim Kardashian. Say what you would like about the Kardashians, but it's clear Kris Jenner has done a glorious job, not only with their show's success, but the success of each of her children. The family likes to keep it real, and the feuds have always been the center of the show, especially when it comes down to Kourtney, Kim, and Khloe. But who can forget the infamous purse episode where Kim and Khloe found themselves in a really heated argument? While the Kardashians were rising to stardom, in this one episode the two stars found themselves in an argument after Kim purchased a new Bentley back in 2009. The altercation was captured during the second season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and since has become one of E-Series' most quotable and viral moments. While the sisters Khloe, Kourtney, and Rob were talking about Kim over dinner in Rob's apartment, Kim was outside and heard them discussing her and making fun of her for buying a new Bentley. Kim ultimately came in furious, and the ultimate purse fiasco came to light, and the star could be seen yelling at Khloe not to be rude. Families fight, that's no secret, but family also sticks together, and Khloe always knows to come to her family's side, and that's something we can all admire.
At number 10, bribes. At this point, we all know that the Kardashians have a my way or the highway kind of attitude. They will get what they want by any means necessary, and we've seen this a few times over the Kardashians' respective careers, but one of the lesser known times that this sort of attitude came out was when Kris Jenner was trying to save her short-lived talk show. Mama Jenner dreamed of being a talk show host, but those dreams were sort of crushed when her talk show premiered in the summer of 2013. She got a series of reviews, and when she read them, she came across one that she really didn't like. One reviewer named Linda Stassi from the New York Post wrote a column about the show and called Kris a quote, a demented Norma Desmond, end quote. Well, because Kris didn't like what Linda had wrote about her, she decided to send the writer a bribe of a dozen Magnolia cupcakes and a $325 sterling silver pen from Tiffany's, along with a note saying to write a better review next time. In the end though, this bribe didn't actually work because her show was cancelled not long after. At number 9, sweatshops. The Kardashians have faced backlash and scandal many times in the past, so really they're nothing new, but one of their more extreme scandals came from when one of their many clothing brands got exposed. In 2011, a Kardashian clothing brand came under fire after it was revealed that the garments were being produced by Chinese workers being paid 8 cents a day. Can you imagine these millionaires paying workers 8 cents? Insane, right? A non-profit organization called China Labor Watch, a group that fights sweatshops, released this information during investigation into the Kardashian brand. Of course, Mama Jenner came in and stepped in, and she claimed that they didn't know anything about that, going on to say, quote, "The factories are very well policed and meet factory standards," end quote. No one is talking about the factory standards, Kris. We're talking about basically not paying people for making clothes that you're about to sell for $100 a piece. That's the tea. Before we carry on dishing about the Kardashian secrets though, why not take a quick moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, maybe consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Kardashian divorce. Remember when Kim K was married to Kris Humphries? Yeah, that was kind of a blip in the Kardashian timeline, but hey, it still happened. They were only married for 72 days, but it was still messy, and their subsequent divorce was just as messy. The cameras for their show Keeping Up with the Kardashians showed off much of their tumultuous marriage, but the cameras were ultimately cut when it came to their divorce, but it wasn't for lack of trying. Kim wanted to film her goodbye call with Kris over Skype, where she was going to say her final farewells and tell him that she really loved him. But Kris saw right through Kim's attempt to get content out of their divorce and flat out refused, saying that he refused to ever be on another episode ever again. Honestly, I can't blame him for making that decision. At number 7, Nanny Knows. The Kardashians have been exposed for a lot over the years by countless people. Honestly, this could be its own video in and of itself, if we haven't already done that. Anyways, one of the people that joined the Exposing the Kardashians club was the family's former nanny. The nanny, a woman named Pam Behan, exposed Kris for her parenting. Although Kris looks like a cool, fun mom, almost acting like one of the Kardashian sisters rather than a parent, according to the nanny, that is all a charade and couldn't be farther from the truth. Turns out that Kris was actually a really mean mom. She said that all of the girls were really shallow and even exposed Kris for being mean to Khloe and criticizing her for being overweight. On top of that, according to the nanny, Kris was also a stickler for healthy foods, saying that she was obsessed with keeping produce in the house, and she even exposed her for having a meltdown when she forgot to pick up broccoli. Now that is a very different side of Kris Jenner that we never get to see. At number 6, private investigator. Back to past Kardashian relationships. Remember when Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom were a thing? Yeah, super messy, as most Kardashian marriages tend to be, but this one was ultra messy because it turned out that at one point, Khloe hired a private investigator to follow Lamar around to watch if he was cheating on Khloe. This was something that we didn't get to see on the family's reality show, but apparently the private investigator was hired to catch Lamar with at least 5 different mistresses. But why put all this effort into a supposed cheater? Well, it turns out that there was a specific clause in their prenuptial agreement that if one of them was caught cheating, then the divorce settlement payout would be larger to the other party. This means that with the help of her private investigator, Khloe would be able to get a higher settlement in the divorce. The things people do for money.
At number 5, we have Kris Jenner's selfish tendencies. She is remarkably such a parent in a sense where everything has to go her way and under her saying, but she seems to go so overboard with this ideology. The driveway looking a certain way to their neighbors, if they were to ever use it for its actual purpose, because God forbid anyone did that, it's just one instance of many. There's also the fact that not one single being, especially a man, has the ability to divide their family unless it benefits them on the fame scale. And if they do manage to squeegee their way in, they're completely pushed out of the picture to make room for someone who's willing to get the job done. I mean, if this is what we're seeing on screen, can you imagine the absolute self-centered and selfish behavior she exudes when the cameras aren't rolling? Not to mention, she enjoys playing favorites and even once stated that Kim was her favorite daughter of the bunch. I mean, it's obvious why, as Kim is responsible for the entire Kardashian startup, but it's still grossly wrong for a parent to enable this type of mindset. At number 4, we have Kris, who used to constantly ignore the Jenner sisters. As their stepmom, by no means is it her official responsibility to care for them, but at the very least, just acknowledge them. Back when Caitlyn identified as Bruce and Kris was still a Jenner by choice, Kris was displayed on the show to constantly shy away from spending any extra time with Kendall or Kylie, or even simply being in their presence. The trio never looked quite comfortable being alone together, and the Jenner sisters were rarely or reluctantly invited to their family vacations. And this wouldn't necessarily be as bad if their family's loads of boyfriends weren't also being invited to these family vacations, while 2 of their key players are missing. I'm not sure if it's because Kris didn't consider them to be hers, or if they weren't bringing in enough bank at the time to be important, but it does strike me as odd how much she seems to love and always want them around now that they're both huge household names. At number 3, we have Kim, a grown woman with her own children now, accusing her mother of being a bad parent. This just seems to be the icing on the cake of truth in regards to actually being a bad mom, when your own daughter raising a family is the one airing you out, regardless of whether Kim stated this during a heated argument or not. And speaking of Kim, when she was reluctant to pose for Playboy back in 2007, Kris was all for it and told her in short, quote, honor the tradition set by Marilyn Monroe and Janet Jackson. Once Hugh Hefner demanded more nudity, Kris was also the one to insist Kim shoot nude, aside from the dozen strings of carefully placed pearls on her body, despite Kim's hesitance. Luckily, Kim took her revenge by forcing Kris to do a naked shoot of her own, donning a single American flag alongside Caitlyn's gold medal. Unsurprisingly enough, Kris pulled it off and later had the image blown up and framed. At number 2, we have Kris being the ultimate micromanaging control freak. This is literally her entire personality wrapped up in a pretty bow. Her nannies have zero room to question her or her daughters and must do everything they say, even if they don't agree with their parenting styles. Photos only happen on Kris's terms, so for the Kardashian Jenner crew or anyone who works under them, taking photos comes at a huge price. For example, reportedly their nannies cannot take images while on the clock, especially of the kids, as this typically runs for a lot of money for publications. Kris forces her daughters to follow guidelines when they post on social media. They even have a fee schedule confirmed by Kris herself. Kris must micromanage at all times, and by this, she must run her household exactly how she sees fit. At number 1, we have Kris's uncanny ability to bank off her family. She self-brands herself as grandmager amongst her momager title, so it's no surprise she was elated to learn there would be 3 new bundles of joy expanding her family. Obviously, her emotions were routed in a different kind of happiness though, as she only really sees the monetary value in her current grandchildren. At one point, Kim, Kylie, and Khloe were all set to welcome their children into the bunch around the same time, and all Kris saw were dollar signs amidst the news. She later opened up about the possibility possibilities of releasing a Keeping Up with the Kardashians spin-off centered around her and her 6 grandkids, Mason, Penelope, Rain, North, Saint, and Dream. If that doesn't tell you this is Kris's biggest red flag, I'm just not sure what will.
In at number 10, Nick Lachey. Nick Lachey also exposed Kim for being a little too friendly with the paparazzi in order to get some publicity from him. The singer claims that Kim might have only been dating him for publicity. Apparently the pair only dated for about a week, and some shady stuff went down. One time he said, let's just say this, we went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. And I think from that story, it's very clear that Kim was tipping off the paparazzi, so there would be photos of them together. And if you didn't already know, unless someone is like incredibly famous, if they're a paparazzi when they are out, they definitely tipped off that paparazzi. In at number 9, Jon Hamm. The Mad Men star definitely has some choice words for the Kardashians, and based off what he said, it's clear he does not like the family and doesn't approve of how they rose to fame. With him telling LUK, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupidity is certainly celebrated. Being an idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you're rewarded significantly. It's celebrated. It doesn't make sense to me. So clearly he doesn't like the reality TV stars whatsoever and doesn't like how our society praises socialites like Paris Hilton and the Kardashians. And like, I kinda get where he's going. Like, you know, he has some valid points. In at number 8, Kristin Cavallari. Kristin Cavallari has a very interesting relationship with the Kar Jenner clan. It all started when Kristin dated Brody Jenner, and through that relationship she also became friends with the Kardashians. But after Brody and Kristin broke up, there was tension between Kristin and Kourtney Kardashian. After Kourtney caught Scott out with Kristin while they were in an off period. And after that, Kristin called out the family for using that information as a publicity stunt to get viewers to their show. And allegedly, after rumors broke that Kristin and Scott were having an affair, the Kardashians refused to deny it and instead waited to address it on their show, leaving Kristin looking like, you know, the bad, terrible other woman when it just wasn't even true. More than a little shady if you ask me. In at number 7, Barack Obama. Former President Barack Obama also couldn't hold his tongue when talking about the famous family. And it's definitely quite the compliment when the president is speaking about you. Or is it? The former president was talking about the changing dynamics of the American dream and how it's shifting with time, saying, there was not that window into the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Kids weren't monitoring every day what Kim Kardashian was wearing or where Kanye West was going on vacation, and thinking that somehow was the mark of success. And ouch, here it's pretty obvious he was throwing some major shade their way. And he doesn't seem to like how they are now the standard for what success is. And apparently Kanye West did not like those comments and actually fired back at the president. But also, since Obama was a former president, you know, I trust his opinion and judgment way more than Kanye's. And at number 6, Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries was someone who probably challenged the Kardashian family the most and exposed secrets about them I'm sure they did not want out. Kim and Kris got married in one of the most lavish televised ceremonies ever, but famously, after only 72 days, the couple split because Kim was having second thoughts. But based off how much content their reality shows got because of that relationship, then the breakup, Kris called Kim out for fraud, arguing that the whole relationship was just a publicity stunt. And their divorce was so messy it lasted 2 whole years before it was finalized. But during the massive trial, Kris exposed that a lot of the Kardashian show was scripted, and that the show purposefully made him look bad. Like when him and Scott threw a party in one episode while the girls were out of town, and they looked really horrible for going behind their backs when they told them not to have the party. The whole thing was actually just a huge sham, with Kim and Kourtney knowing about the party and acting like they didn't know for TV, in turn making Kris look like a terrible husband when it literally wasn't like that at all. Halfway at number 5, Lourdes Leon. Lourdes Leon, daughter of Madonna, dissed Kylie after Lourdes was invited to Kylie's birthday party in 2015. Apparently, she finds the Kardashian family vile and was horrified about the invite. A source revealed that Lourdes shaded Kylie over her social media activity and selfie taking. After she received the invite, a source exposed, quote, she couldn't believe Kylie thought that she'd be receptive to a party invite and has completely ignored her. As far as Lourdes is concerned, she's not going to lower herself to even responding. Adding that Lourdes is very picky about who she spends her time with, and Kylie doesn't make the cut. The source added that Lourdes' friends are, quote, much more interested in changing the world than in taking selfies. And in my opinion, you must really hate someone if the thought of them inviting you to their birthday leaves you horrified.
At number 4, Amber Rose. The Kardashians have caused a lot of tension in the past in case of their relationships. There's been so much drama with cheating, rumors, babies, and so much more, so it's not surprising to know that Kylie is hated because of relationship quarrels. Amber Rose has had some harsh things to say about Kylie in the past, especially when it came to her relationship with rapper Tyga. Tyga had left Blac Chyna, the mother of his son, for Kylie, and Amber did not approve of that at all. During a radio interview, Amber spoke out about that drama when she said, quote, "She's a baby, she needs to go to bed at 7 o'clock and relax. That's ridiculous. Tyga should be ashamed of himself. That's how I feel, for sure. He has a beautiful woman and a baby and left that all for a 16-year-old who just turned 17. End quote. Amber wasn't the only one to comment on Kylie and Tyga's relationship, but her commentary definitely had some heat.
In at number 3, Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star has been coming for Kylie publicly ever since she came out with an online makeup company that was a competitor to Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Their feud is totally one-sided, but I'm sure that Kylie has seen all the shade that Jeffree has dished out. Back when Jeffree was famous for his makeup reviews, he reviewed Kylie Cosmetics on multiple occasions, and more often than not, he trashed her products. When reviewing her over $300 brush set, he called it cheap dollar store product. Jeffree and Shane Dawson also trashed Kylie's skin in their review, where they called the products drying, irritating, and overpriced. Jeffree even shaded Kylie's Forbes cover, where she was declared the world's youngest self-made billionaire. He said, quote, "I declined the feature, so they had to pick someone."
At number 2, Amanda Stenberg. The most common scandal that the Kardashians seem to get involved in is something involving cultural appropriation. Many of the Kardashians have been accused of appropriating black culture and blackfishing, and Kylie seems to be one of the worst offenders when it comes to these things. The internet has got really fired up when Kylie was seen wearing cornrows, and actress Amanda Stenberg went off on Kylie for it. The Hunger Games actress tweeted saying, quote, "When you appropriate black features and culture but fail to use your position of power to help black Americans by directing attention towards your wigs instead of police brutality or racism, hashtag white girls do it better." End quote. On top of that, Amanda also posted a video titled "Don't Cash Crop on My Cornrow," explaining that, quote, "The line between cultural appropriation and cultural exchange is always going to be blurred, but here's the thing. Appropriation occurs when a style leads to racist generalizations or stereotypes where it originated but deemed high fashion, cool, or funny when the privileged take it for themselves." End quote. Amanda already took a disliking towards Kylie after that, but that didn't seem to do much because she kept posting in cornrows after that.
And finally at number 1, Blac Chyna. There is absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind that Blac Chyna hates Kylie Jenner. I think pretty much anyone would hate the woman that your boyfriend left you for. Back in 2014, Blac Chyna was in a long-term relationship with Tyga. The pair even had a son together. But that all changed when Kylie came into the picture, and Tyga left Chyna for a 16-year-old Kylie. Kylie and Tyga dated for 2 years before splitting. At this time, tons of Chyna's friends and family were shading Kylie for breaking up a family, including Amber Rose. Apparently, Kim Kardashian was even friends with Chyna while she was with Tyga, and Kim said that Chyna was devastated when she found out that Tyga was leaving her and their 3-year-old son King Cairo for Kylie. Years later, Chyna would get in a long-term relationship with Rob Kardashian, Kylie's half-brother, and have a child with him. Some even speculate that Blac Chyna got with Rob purely out of spite so she could make Kylie's life hell.
At number 10, we have Larsa Pippen. Everyone knows Larsa and Kim Kardashian as her ex-best friend. But between the constant drama, the star caused a rift between the Kardashian family by speaking on private family matters. When Larsa spilled the tea about dating Tristan Thompson, the Kardashian family was ultimately not happy, mainly because it made their sister Khloe look like she wasn't as innocent as she seemed. In an interview with Hollywood Raw, Larsa said she was seeing Tristan and had come to LA, where she brought him to a party Kim was hosting. While at the party, Larsa introduced him to all the Kardashian Jenner sisters, and then 10 days later, he started seeing Khloe. Unfortunately for Larsa, the Kardashian family didn't believe her claims about Tristan and have since cut her out of their lives for toxic energy and behavior. The Kardashians have since claimed Larsa lied about dating Tristan, but with all that was revealed in her interview, I think it's safe to say she may have been telling the truth. Number 9. Chloe Grace Moretz. Back in 2016, when Kim was having her own celebrity feud with Taylor Swift, Kim posted her supposed proof that the singer was lying about knowing Kanye's reference to her in his song. As fans went crazy, Chloe was left feeling annoyed. She then took to Twitter to say, "Everyone in this industry needs to get their heads out of a hole and look around to realize what's actually happening in the real world." Khloe Kardashian then went to post a series of pictures of Chloe and a back shot with an unknown woman in a similar bikini to Chloe, with the caption, "Is this the hole you were referring to?" Moretz then hit back at the stars saying, "The first photo was me and neighbors too, and the second is a girl who was wrongfully photographed." Not backing down, Chloe then went to defend herself against those who criticized her for attacking the 19-year-old actress by saying, "I'm the last person to be a bully, but I have an animal instinct to protect and defend my family." As much as I support the notion to protect your family, bullying and making another woman feel bad about herself is never the answer. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor Swift has had this ongoing feud with the Kardashian family, and Khloe has never been scared to state her opinions on the matter, and when new drama arises, you can definitely see Khloe in the center of it. The feud has been going on since 2016 over Kanye West's track, Famous. Taylor claimed she was blindsided by the lyrics, however, Kim came forward with a voice-recorded messages which stated otherwise. Later, Taylor would say that Kim edited and manipulated snippets of the phone calls. When Kim came to say Taylor was lying, it definitely was a shock when Khloe chimed in with her own opinion, proving everything Taylor has been warning us about the sisters for years. Taylor broke the silence by responding to the sisters' words instead of answering those who are asking how I feel about the video footage that leaked, proving I was telling the truth the whole time. The star then went on to say the call was illegally recorded and someone edited and manipulated the recording to frame the star. With Khloe always quickly to chime in on new feuds, the Taylor Swift feud indicates that Khloe just wants to be the center of attention and will insert herself in any family feud that comes to light. Number 7, we have Jeffree Star. If anyone knows the tea in Hollywood, it's Jeffree Star, and when Jeffree and Shane Dawson were set to review Kylie's new skincare line, which they hated, Shane mentioned the infamous tweet by Jeffree Star where he dragged Khloe after she was cheated on by Tristan Thompson. Just to recap, when news broke of Kylie's ex-best friend, Jordyn Woods, hooking up with Tristan Thompson, when the news first broke, Khloe was pregnant with her first child, True. Jeffree, pretty much being neighbors with the Kardashians, decided to input himself into the center of the drama by saying, "Learn to co-parent on a healthy level and stop acting like your man isn't trash either." He then went to Snapchat to say Tristan and Jordyn had been seeing each other for over a month or two, and it wasn't just the first time. Jeffree noted that all of Hollywood talks and that he was given this information by hair and nail stylist. Jeffree's not afraid when it comes to inputting his knowledge on scandals in Hollywood, and you can always trust him to back up his information, especially when it comes to the Kardashian sisters. At number 6, we're bringing in Caitlyn Jenner. Khloe and Caitlyn used to have a good relationship, however the pair fell out following Kris and Caitlyn's divorce in 2015. This came just after Caitlyn transitioned in her interview about her marriage to Kris Jenner with Diane Sawyer in Vanity Fair. In the interview, Caitlyn revealed the star wasn't really supportive of her interview or her transition, which was a really heartbreaking time for her. While Kris was left feeling disappointed, Khloe stepped in to say that Caitlyn essentially did her mother dirty, and Caitlyn really had nerve when she said, "What happened to family sticking together?" Overall, both stars were left feeling heartbroken, as before the interview, the Good American co-founder and Olympian were notoriously close prior to Caitlyn's transition, especially since the star was really supportive in the beginning about the transition and told Caitlyn to do whatever makes her happy, but then didn't talk to Caitlyn for the next coming years. Caitlyn continues to have a challenging relationship with her stepdaughters, however it seems her and Khloe are finally back on good terms. As Khloe stated, she talks to Caitlyn once in a blue moon, but since they're both really busy with their schedules and the pandemic, the stars ultimately have no more beef between each other.
Halfway number 5, Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer slammed Kylie in a 2017 interview where she was talking about the importance of self-confidence and beauty on social media. In the interview, Keke said, quote, specifically the situation with Kylie, where you've had a young girl people have seen on television since she was a kid, and they literally told her she was so ugly, the ugly person in the family. She went and did apparently everything the world deems as beautiful. The even crazier part is that everyone loves her for it. Kylie never addressed the comments, but years later, Keke spoke about them again with Andy Cohen, but they're clarifying that her statements were not meant to be a dig at Kylie, but she was just one example, with Keke adding that all she wanted was for people to embrace their own bodies, not change just because people are telling them to. And at number 4, Amber Rose. Amber Rose was very outspoken when Kylie and Tyga started dating, because honestly, I think a lot of people were a little suspicious of their age gap, with Amber making comments that the relationship was wrong because of Kylie's young age, with Amber telling The Breakfast Club, quote, she's a baby. She needs to go to bed at 7 o'clock and relax. Adding, that's ridiculous. Tyga should be ashamed of himself. For sure, he's a beautiful woman and a baby, and left that for a 16-year-old who just turned 17. And at first, the comments seemed to take aim at Tyga because he was the adult in the situation, but then the comments turned nasty towards Kylie when she said that he just left a beautiful woman and a child for a teenager. But I'm sorry, Amber's not wrong. That relationship was nasty. And at number 3, Ellen DeGeneres. Even though we can't trust anything Ellen says anymore, there was one point in time where Ellen was very annoyed with Kylie Jenner, and it proved how much of a diva that she can be. Ellen and the Kardashians are very close, with the Kardashians giving tons of exclusive interviews to Ellen. But Ellen might not be that fond of Kylie. In late 2015, Kylie was scheduled to appear on the show, and apparently had 5 meltdowns before doing so. She also refused to use Ellen's glam team, and brought her own instead, which meant Kylie needed extra dressing rooms. A source told Radar Online, quote, Kylie also insisted that she have 2 VIP parking spots because she didn't want to walk from the parking structure to the studio, which is less than a block away. She also arrived late to film the show, and all that combined definitely shows some huge diva energy. And at number 2, Miley Cyrus. As we know, Miley Cyrus does not hold back when dishing out some good old shade. So a few years back, Miley posted a photo to her Instagram with her cleavage and signature pout. What's new, right? But then Miley decided to throw some shade by posting a photo of her pouting and pushing up her own cleavage with the caption, quote, do you think if I push my boobs up I'll get more followers? Then to make it clear she was probably making fun of Kylie, she posted, quote, dear women, you all are tacky AF. Why don't we overly, myself included, fortunate women come together and try to create and bring jobs to other women in desperate need of them so they can support not only themselves but their families. And although she never called out Kylie by name, you didn't have to look too hard to see who she was calling out. And at number 1, Kanye West. This one might be the worst because Kylie actually turned her back on her own family in order to get some money. So Kanye owns Yeezy shoes, which is turned into a well-recognized shoe brand. But before that happened, Puma actually snagged Kylie to be in their new campaign, which happened to be Kanye's biggest competitor at the time. In an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim said, quote, Kanye had Kylie walk in his first 2 Adidas shows. He really believed in her as part of his brand. I feel like this was a conflict of interest. Kylie ended up getting a 7-figure deal with Puma, but lost the respect of Kanye along the way. Before the deal was finished, Kanye tweeted, quote, 1000% there will never be a Kylie Puma anything. That's on my family. 1000% Kylie is on Yeezy team. Then adding in another tweet, quote, Puma, we're gonna give your measly $1 million back. Never try to divide the family. But now I'm sure he's learned his lesson to never trust Kylie because even after all of that, she took the Puma deal.